we're kicking off our new online service, Toonami Jetstream.
Yeah! It's here! It's here at last!
So we're hooking you up with a night of Naruto to get it going. Starting at 7, we've got 6 Naruto episodes, all lined up, leading up to the Mother Lode.
Better listen carefully, maggots.
Back-to-back brand new episodes of Naruto from 10 to 11.
Awesome!
Night of Naruto, Saturday night from 7 to 11. 2 great tastes that taste great together. Only Toonami on Cartoon Network. Hey Toonami faithful, it's your old pal Tom. I'm here to tell you about Toonami Jetstream, your online source for the finest anime and action cartoons on the net. We've got cult faves like Samurai Jack and Megas XL Often. Plus, the best ninja show around, Naruto. And that's not all. Never before seen shows like Mare, The Prince of Tennis, and Hikaru no Go. Get started at ToonamiJetstream.com. Go with the flow. Go now and check out ToonamiJetstream.com, your online source for the finest anime and action cartoons on the net.
Rock on!
Toonami Jetstream. Go with the flow. In case you don't already know, or if you just woke up from a coma, Toonami Jetstream is the place to watch your favorite anime online. Stop on by and check out new shows like The Prince of Tennis, Mare, and Hikaru no Go, or some of your favorites like Pokemon, Samurai Jack, and Satch Bell. Just fire up your computer and enjoy the streaming at video.toonamijetstream.com. Only Toonami and Toonami Jetstream.
I'm Sean Higgins. I am a creative director here at Cartoon Network, and I was hired to create an action franchise that eventually became Toonami. And to my left
is Jason DeMarco, also creative director, who was hired by Sean to work on Toonami.
Suspended somewhere in time and space. All strong, all brave, all hero.
Many years ago, I was approached by Mike Lazo, and he had an afternoon franchise that he wanted to do something with. I think it was called Super Adventures at the time. We worked for about 8 months to 10 months in development of an idea, and eventually that idea turned into what is Toonami.
Take heed.
Don't tamper with nature and endanger thousands of lives.
Excellent.
Takes you back, doesn't it?
Well, Jason says he just made up the name Toonami.
It's true.
I don't think that's true.
My contention is that I thought of that name, but Sean disagrees. But either way, regardless of who thought of it, Sean recognized that it was a great
From
name.
a conversation amongst several creative people. Jason certainly was a heavy contributor to that conversation.
Anyway, Sean, either way, recognized that that was a good name, and he put that on his short list of names that he liked, and brought that to
Mike Lazo.
He picked that. Yeah,
he picked that name.
That name's fun. That name will work.
Yeah, he picked that name after saying that we were not allowed to use Toon in any name.
Right.
That was the name he then immediately chose from the list.
Tom, and Tom. That's a lot of hosts.
Tom's just the Toonami Operations Module. It's an acronym. I mean, we thought of a million. It was Adam for a second. It was Tom. We just wanted a short monosyllabic human name. Like, we wanted like a real person's name, since we couldn't. He was a visor-faced dude. You couldn't look him in the eye, and we thought it was important to humanize him a little bit so that you could kind of connect to him a little bit easier. So that's where we started down the road of, like, you know, kind of boy names or real names. And then in the early days, an old friend of mine used to chase a crazy punk rock band around called the Mekons. The bass player's name is Sarah, and one of the songwriters' name is Tom, and they were always together. So it was Tom and Sarah, Tom and Sarah, Tom and Sarah, Tom and Sarah. Totally not connected to anything, but I was just always, like, I just heard those two names together for so long. I think that's the reason that it happened.
All right, Tom, we're ready.
I love this job.
Started with Sonny Stitt.
So it's a brand new Toonami, but the mission objectives remain the same. My name is Tom.
Who was Krillin on Dragon Ball. So we thought, well, this guy sounds young. He's a good tie-in because, you know, he's a voice on one of our biggest shows. So we worked with Sonny for a while, and then
Tom is dead. Enter Tom 2.
We killed Tom 1, and Tom 2 came out. Sean was a big fan of changing up the voice, changing up the look, you know. So another Toonami employee and I were watching Cowboy Bebop at the time, and when we heard the first English dub, we were like, that guy's awesome. He's cool. What if we hired Spike? And really all we cared about was that he played Spike. But Steve ended up just really getting it in a way that no one else had gotten it.
Tom, we're back.
Just headed back to the bridge for the big finale.
Peter Cullen
Is just awesome.
Yeah, he was the voice of the Open of Voltron.
We knew we wanted to cut like trailers, and we knew we needed to have this big, booming, like powerful voice.
We come to herald the beginning of a new age.
A lot of these guys won't read slang, and they won't do the real like conversation. We almost took that huge announcer thing and tried to turn it upside down a little bit and have him say, you know, colloquialisms and ain'ts and stuff that they're technically not supposed to say. And he always was kind of into that, and he thought it was cool.
Get ready for actions, hair apparent. Bo-bo-bo-bo-bo-bo-bo.
I don't know that he necessarily totally could see the whole picture, but he could deliver those lines just straight up, like it was the most serious thing in the world, and it was awesome.
He would very much enjoy the curveballs.
For the opportunity that we have and what we ended up doing, lights out home run. I wouldn't imagine a success like that could ever be paralleled again.
Until we meet again, stay gold. Bang.
Thanks for hanging with Toonami for 12 years if you did, or for 5 minutes if you did that. And we really appreciate all you guys. And you're the reason we did it. So we hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Check.
Flash.
I'm Michelle Ruff. I'm a voice actor. My role in Blue Dragon, I play Klook.
Okay, I'll start out. I knew there'd be some way I could help.
Klook has really kind of arced in the show already.
What are you talking about?
Because at first she was just kind of pesky
No.
in the way and
I've decided I'm coming along too.
not very nice.
Could you two knock it off already? Freaking coming out! You think I'm weak, do you?
She's grown up already in the fact that she's really finding herself. I don't know how much of the story I can give away right now. Now that we know that she's a shadow wielder. That was a surprise to me, and I was like, yes! Go girl power! That made it fun for me because I felt like I had a sense of purpose.
We have the power to protect everyone!
And it's fun too with Blue Dragon because I get to play Phoenix.
I heard the wish you made in your heart, and I came.
So I'm it's like I'm playing opposite myself.
Then I'm glad.
Of course, me too.
And I love that when I'm in a two characters in a scene and you're talking to yourself.
So hard to pull off.
It's so fun though. Hi, this is Michelle Ruff. I play Klook on Blue Dragon, and you're watching Toonami Jetstream.
Shoot! Take him down!
You got it, Klook! Fire crisis!
You don't have to be so overdramatic.
Lupin.
Well, hi, Fuji Cakes.
Oh, hey, lover.
Ooh, well, have you seen anything worthwhile recently?
Nothing but you.
Ooh, baby. In anime, you get little to no time at all.
A lot of times I'm not told the name of a show when I go into audition.
By and large, you're kind of inventing the character when you get there.
You literally have like 5 seconds to decide what you're going to do with that character.
You got to get in there and you got to just do your best. I think for anime, it's very instinctive.
Anime is as opposed to a lot of other different kinds of animation, is really nuanced. It's got a lot of little underlying things.
For me, it's like, okay, you just throw yourself in and you got to trust that whatever you're doing is going to be on target.
Watching the actor discover in the booth as they're going and being surprised right along with the character makes for a much better, more natural performance. It was the most shocking thing I ever had in my acting when I went in to read the, I think it was script 11 or 12, and we're doing it, and one of the main characters dies. I'd never seen that in an animation before. It actually kind of, that was when I first got the idea of it's a good thing to surprise the actor, because I was really kind of in a funk the whole time, which was great because so was the character. Well, as you get older as a voice actor, things do change. I mean, you change physically. My voice has gotten deeper and more gravelly as I've gotten older. It's a little more difficult for me to do the higher parts. And also your life experience changes, so you bring a certain maturity to the roles.
As I get older, I'm expanding my range rather than dropping some characters to do other characters.
As you get older, your delivery changes a little bit. And what counts as young and what isn't changes. It has to do with pronunciations and current, the way young people talk now is different than we talked when we were kids. If you're doing it well and you're practicing and you're doing it all the time, your range actually gets bigger as your acting range gets bigger with maturity.
Hi, this is Michelle Ruff. I play Kluke on Blue Dragon, and you're watching Toonami Jetstream.
My name is Vic Mignogna, and I'm a voice actor. Well, about 10 years ago, I was working with a friend in Houston, and he said, hey, you know, you've got a pretty wide background in acting, don't you? And I said, yeah. And he said, you ought to go and audition for this place called ADV. They do, like, Japanimation. And I was really fascinated because I had no idea that such a place existed in Houston, Texas, you know. And so I went and auditioned, and at the time, ADV was like, you know, this small little entity just doing this fan service kind of a niche market kind of a thing. And I got cast as Vega in Street Fighter 2. And then the next show came up, and I got to work on that one, and then the ball started rolling, and then I met some friends and made some friends at Funimation in Dallas, and did Dragon Ball Z and Yu Yu Hakusho and Kitty Grade and Case Closed and Spiral and then Full Metal, and now I've started working out in LA as well, doing Bleach and several video games and different animes out there as well. Well, I've always been a huge fan of cartoons, just like anyone else. I was telling a panel this morning how much I loved Scooby-Doo when I was little, and Justice League, and, you know, Speed Racer, of course. Of course, at the time, I had no idea it was anime. Who knew that, you know, that 25 years later, you might get a chance to actually be part of something like that. The only show that I've ever seen before I started recording it was actually Full Metal Alchemist. And it was because after I got cast, I started getting these emails from fans, and they were saying, dude, don't screw this show up. They're like, we love this show, don't screw it up. And I genuinely got really nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, this must be a pretty big show. And I didn't even know anything about the show, nothing. So I started going to the internet and checking it out, and I had a friend start sending me subs so that I could watch it. And and it became like this daunting task. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a big show. That's the only show that I've seen any of really before I recorded it. A lot of people that have heard me talk at conventions and elsewhere know that there's a special place in my heart for Broly. Not a good place. A painful place. In the heart, lungs, larynx. Broly was murdered.
If you wish not to fight back, I understand. But I am going to destroy this planet no matter what.
They called me and said, can you do like a dark, deep, angry voice? And I was like, you mean on the phone? How scary is that going to be, right? And they're like, sure, just do something. And so I just said something, you know, mean and angry, and they were like, yeah, that's great. We want you to come and play this character for Dragon Ball. And of course, my initial response is, woohoo, you know, I get to be a Dragon Ball. And then I got up there, and I started doing it. And I mean, within 2 hours, my voice was gone. And I was scared because it was gone. And so I had to go back up and finish it. And I thought, well, at least he died at the end of this movie, so at least I don't have to do that anymore. Oh, no. Nobody dies in Dragon Ball. He's back in the next movie and the next movie. And every time I'd be like, how can he be back? They blew him to smithereens. Like, dude, this is Dragon Ball. You know, anything's possible.
Getting stronger. Yes, much stronger.
We tease about it. I love Broly. I love him. He's a big, clumsy, you know, ox, and I love that crazy Super Saiyan. But he's definitely hard on the pipes. Ironically enough, the most frequently asked question is, how can I get into voice acting? How did you get into voice acting, and how can I get into voice acting? I was really fortunate because I got in it when it was very small. And there wasn't a lot of attention to it. It was a very small little industry. And now it's just exploded. And everybody wants to do it. And I'm just very grateful to be a part of it.
This is Berta, and you're watching Dragon Ball Z on Toonami Jetstream.
I'm Colleen Klinkenbeard, and I'm an actress, director, producer with Funimation Entertainment. Probably the best known are going to be Riza Hawkeye and Rose Thomas in Full Metal Alchemist. I'm also Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy, in the new One Piece dub from Funimation, which has not come out yet.
I'm going to be king of the pirates!
I play Esther in Trinity Blood, and Mama in Kodacha, Kirara in Samurai 7, and a bunch of others. Line producing at Funimation is a little bit different from line producing in most of the filmic industry. As a line producer, I have approval over the script, so my first job would be to check the scripts, make sure they're consistent with the ideas that we're trying to convey with the scripts, make sure that all the characters are staying consistent, that kind of thing. Once they're approved, I choose a director for every episode. I am in charge of casting or helping the director cast the series, and then I either direct or have somebody direct the show. And after that, I follow up and watch, make sure that they stayed consistent with everything, that I approve of the creative process. And then I take it to mix, and one of our brilliant mix engineers does his job, and I check that over as well and maybe make a few small adjustments from there. Directing entails knowing the show inside and out in Japanese, knowing what the Japanese wanted or were trying to convey, knowing what the marketing team and the rest of Funimation is trying to do with the show, where they're trying to go with it, what the ideal market is for it, and then taking that, casting the show with voices that are either very similar to the Japanese voices, or if you've made a conscious decision to break away from those Japanese voices, do exactly what you're looking for with that, and responsible for all those decisions within. And then the bulk of it is making sure that as you direct, you maintain a consistency throughout with the voices, with the conversations, with the intensity as it's conveyed on the screen. One of our hardest jobs, since we direct one actor at a time, we don't direct chorus style the way the Japanese do. We only have one actor in the booth at a time, so frequently they're recording off of nobody else. They'll just be talking into the void, and it's our job to make sure that they know where they're coming from and how that other person's going to respond, where the build needs to be. No, you're farther away from him than that, you're going to need to call it out more. It's more intense than that, you're in the middle of a fight, that kind of thing. So the director's just responsible for the overall creative process of making the show look and sound, well, not look, sound like it's supposed to sound. Probably my favorite anime to work on so far has been Fullmetal Alchemist. I don't think that anything has compared, and I don't know if anything can compare. It's actually sort of frustrating working on something that you know is not coming down the pike again. It was just the whole package. It was so beautifully done. The animation, the music, the characters, the storyline, everything was so beautiful. It was almost a shame to touch it, but I'm glad that we did, because I think it turned out really, really well. The new Funimation dub of One Piece is something that has all of Funimation excited. We're all thrilled to pieces that it came our direction. And I am involved only as Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy, who's my character, who's the captain of the ship. And I'm so thankful that Mike McFarland and Chris Bevins cast me. He's my favorite character that I've done so far. I think he's so fun and stupid.
Aww, I thought I was gonna get to see a goat.
Acting is my love. I've been doing it forever, since I was 12, and it's all I've really ever wanted to do. If I could only do one of the jobs at Funimation that I have, it would be acting.
You're watching One Piece on Toonami Jetstream.
My name is Anthony Robinson, and I am the art manager / art director for Funimation. I'm basically in charge of anything that's in print, DVD packaging, advertisements, marketing materials, DVD menus, and I'm a sometime voice actor. I've done the head chef in Fruits Basket. I was Tranny in Burst Angel, Bob in Speedgrapher, Tweedledum in Kitty Grade, Gay Guy B in Shuffle. For art direction, I got my degree in graphic design at the University of North Texas, and I was actually on my way to get my graduate degree in printing at the University of Iowa when the job offer came up at Funimation, and I had to take the job. You know, I was a part casual anime fan, and decided that I really wanted to start working for a company, a small company, you know, that we could help make big, so. We try to use as many original Japanese assets as we can. It depends on how we're deciding to market the show. Sometimes the artwork that comes, like with our show Aquarion, you know, it's a sci-fi mech show, but it's these watercolor paintings, you know, on the DVD covers that don't really portray what the show is about. So sometimes we have to recreate the images. We have to use just the actual footage itself. But I like to use the original Japanese product and the original assets from them, because I think that's what the fans truly like. We do have a paint department that changes the color of the blood, you know, if the show has to be rated down, paint out cigarettes, but mostly anything that is only available on DVD, we leave it alone. Don't touch it. That's probably the favorite part of my job, is working on a new starter set. I think Funimation has become known for our packaging and our interesting boxes, and I'm a little bit of a packaging myself, so I like creating something that I would like to buy myself. My favorite anime is probably Haibane Renmei, which is actually a genie on title. It's a very depressing, sad... I like very sad, cute things, so any show that's sad and cute. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. You can get into voice acting in different ways. I think just being part of the industry, you know, there's so many other parts of anime besides just the voice acting. They need people to run the ADR booths. You need engineers, sound engineers, mixers, artists. You know, there's all sorts of ways to get into the anime industry besides voice acting. And maybe, you know, you could work up into voice acting, like I begged and begged and begged just to let me try out. But that's the most common question, is how do I get into the business? I would say the best way to get into the business is to learn a technical trade like graphic design, learn the programs, fan art and drawing itself, is not going to pay the bills. I would try to find something that you can use your artistic skill, a way to make money, so that when you go home at the end of the night, you can do your own art the way you want to. I'm Anthony Robinson, art director for Funimation, and you're watching Toonami Jetstream.
Hello, I'm Mike McFarland. I am a voice actor, a ADR voice director, a scriptwriter, and a line producer. Luckily, I'm slightly insane and I can manage them all. Just like get up and do this before I get to work, and then do this at work, and then do this at home when I'm not working, and make quotes like a velociraptor. Directing challenge would be to have a map in your head of what you want everything to sound like and what the conversations are going to flow like between all the voice actors that you record. And then the production end of it, of the line producing, would be that aspect, plus being able to help out with the mixing process and check on the scripts and make sure that they are up to the level of excellence that you would like to have. The adaptive writing is kind of the unsung hero of the whole thing. If you have a good script, then everyone will just think that the director and voice actors were wonderful. And if you have a bad script, then the script's bad and the director and the voice actors were terrible. I take the translation and I try to keep as close to the same meaning as what they said in the original language as possible, while adapting it to where it fits the mouth movements and the timings of the characters that are on screen. Keeping the story in mind, keeping the intonation of the characters in mind, keeping the language of the series in mind. How elevated is the language? Are these like aristocracy, or are these peasants, or are these rednecks, or what kind of people are they? And try to let the dialogue reflect that. Some of the voices I've provided for different series. Back in the Disney, I was Master Roshi and Yajirobe on Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Baby Vegeta on Dragon Ball GT. I've also been Gene Havoc on Full Metal Alchemist, Kane in Trinity Blood, some random guys on Case Closed, some random guys in Yu Yu Hakusho. Master Roshi is probably one of my favorite characters just because it's so easy for me to go into the voice now, and it's a lot of fun to be that old and perverted and loud all the time.
You must find me a young gal. It's the only way I can start training you.
Okay, but what's a gal?
A gal! A fun girl I can go on a date with!
Oh, that's kind of weird.
You're watching Dragon Ball on Toonami Jetstream! So keep doing that with your computer.
Q&A, fire away. Hello, my name is Cobra Commander. I'm in charge of Cobra, terrorist organization determined to rule the world. My name is Nathan Pett. I'm from Burbank. I enjoy costuming, and I'm here at Comic-Con 2008. And I gotta say, it's pretty fun this year.
We're here at Comic-Con 2008 with Viz and Toonami Jetstream.
Welcome to Comic-Con 2008.
Worldwide connection point.
I'm having a blast.
Smell the excitement.
You will have a good time. Cobra!
It was amazing. We saw a couple stormtroopers.
As big a nerd as I am, I've only been, this is my third Comic-Con. I guess I was intimidated in the past.
It has a little bit of everything for everyone. It's a little crowded, but at the same time, I'm still getting the fun experience I normally have.
I went to an old panel yesterday for an old cartoon show that I really liked. That nostalgia feeling, I loved it.
I love He-Man, I grew up with the cartoon, and I love the updated version.
My personal favorite was the Clone Wars micro-series that came out a couple years ago. But I'm kind of biased because I'm a big Star Wars fan.
I love Transformers Animated. It's a good recreation and reinvention. The whole thing's thought through. Uses the old characters but gives new spins to them, and it's really entertaining to see all that encompassed. It's very, very hip. I said hip.
Anime's been the most exciting thing to me for a while, just because it is kind of still new, and there's a lot of what I like about anime is the episodic nature of the storytelling.
Definitely Naruto. I'm into ninjas and samurais and Chinese and the Chinese martial arts and all that. Shadow Clone Jutsu.
I had an older brother and an older sister, and my brother was way into comic books, but mostly video games. I'm a huge gamer, so that's where I get really excited here.
Originally, I didn't like comics, but when I came here, I started hearing stories, I heard people say why they like it, and I thought, hell, that looks pretty fun. And I'm actually getting into comics because of coming here.
The comics community is probably a lot smaller than what people think, even though comic books are definitely worldwide, international.
Comics also got me to read, and you know, I devoured everything from the artwork to the stories, and I wanted to read them, I wanted to draw them, I wanted to write them, and that just, you know, formed who I was as a person and where my career is now.
Let's start the whole thing over.
Yeah, let's just start from the top.
Okay. That was a good practice, right? That was a good practice.
So I had this tonkatsu ramen yesterday, and I'm thinking miso ramen today.
Silence!
Kind of an amazing day to celebrate the release of Naruto, the Ninja Revolution. We're at the Nintendo store in Rockefeller Center. We're going to have the World Ramen Eating Contest.
I think what makes Naruto such a popular series is the ninjas and the action.
Naruto is perfect for the Wii because it really pulls you into the action because it contains a lot of emotion sensitivity in the game. Enhances the experience that you can't really experience on other consoles.
Naruto is just like every other kid. He's facing tons of challenges that most kids can really relate to.
Hey, Konohamaru, do I seem uncool or something?
Well, compared to Sasuke, yeah, you're pretty lame.
Naruto's favorite food is ramen noodles, so we thought the best way to launch our video games would be to hold America's first ramen noodle eating championship.
I think it's amazing because gaming and pro eating are very much alike, both involving oral and manual dexterity. More ramen is going to be consumed, and I guess more Naruto games are going to be played at the same time.
And actually, Naruto is really the original ramen eating champion.
Who's the grand champion? That'd be me.
Naruto Clash of Ninja Revolution is perfect for fans of fighting games because it offers a whole new way to play with the Wii Remote. You're going to be using the Wii Remote to implement all your special jutsus and special attacks, as well as your day-to-day fighting. Everyone working on this game is also a huge fan of Naruto, so there's been a lot of love put into the game and a lot of special detail into the characters, the special attacks, and the unlockable features, which fans will definitely recognize.
10 minutes of ramen eating is a marathon. It's like playing a Naruto video game for 24 hours straight. So my goal is to make it to that 5-minute mark and then push myself into the last 2 minutes. That's where dreams are made and realities are broken.
3, 2, 1, go!
With 10.5 pounds of ramen noodles in 10 minutes, Mr. Tim, Eater X, Joe!
And this is the greatest video game in the world, greatest eating contest in the world. Thanks Naruto, thanks Ramen Noodles.